Hey, this is Keena B, and welcome to Say Anything. Say anything.
Why can't you just say anything?
I'm gonna say anything.
People just say anything.
I swear, people just say anything. Welcome to Say Anything with Keena B.
Welcome to Say Anything with Keena B. I am Keena B. Thank you so much for joining me. And we have video. Yay! What do? They do this. The kids today. Welcome. Thank you so much for being here. I am actually sitting in Bwembya's Market, which is an art gallery and gift market that I run. And so for a lot of these videos, a lot of these podcasts, you're going to see me sitting in this market. One, it has great lighting, but two, it has great art. So why not be surrounded by beautiful things while you're making a podcast? It is my hope that I will be able to keep this video face-to-face going as we're going forward. I know for YouTube, it is like one of the main things that they love to see is people's actual faces on the screen. And you want to see me too, I know you do. So here I am. This is the voice. This is the face behind the voice that you've been seeing for the last 40 plus downloads that are on Spotify and YouTube right now. If you haven't listened to them, please go back and listen to all of the podcasts. This is our third season. The first season had about 6 or 7 episodes. The second season had about 20 some odd episodes, and now we are into the third season. So thanks so much for sticking around. I hope you enjoy it. Today it is going to be me talking about my journey into entrepreneurship. Because I get this question a lot. So I said, let me just go ahead and do a video. Not that it will keep people from asking me the question of why, but it will definitely just give me something to reference. If you really want to know the whole story, I'm probably not going to give you the whole story, but I'll give you a lot. And try to keep it as brief as possible. First of all, I want to tell y'all, if you haven't liked or subscribed by now, go ahead and click that like button. Go ahead and do that. Go ahead and click that thumbs up if you're on YouTube, that heart if you're on Spotify. If you are on Instagram and you're watching a clip, go ahead and love it, like it, share it, and then follow Say Anything podcast on Instagram. Follow officially Keena B on Instagram, and on YouTube. Follow Say Anything as well, and on Spotify. Follow. Hit the notification button, and that way you won't miss any episodes. Cause we're just gonna get better. I'm just gonna get better and keep on going. A little bit about me. Maybe I should start there. I studied communications and technology when way back in the day. I studied communications and technology. I always had a love of the radio and sound. You know, storytelling on the radio, the actual journalism that goes behind it, and the communication aspect of it, the nuance of it, being able to capture a story without a visual is it's an art form to be able to capture someone's attention, and I really got into what that was. I also love a lot of other things like music and just writing. More so when I say music, I mean lyrics, the poetry behind the melody, the words that people are speaking. I have a love of words. So I guess that's really where it starts. I have a love of words. Whether I'm reading or writing or listening, I just love the art form that is stringing words together in order to communicate a message to someone else. I'm a lover of all things creative, and particularly when it comes to the written word and listening. I do write. I write stories. I have a big imagination. I'm constantly daydreaming about a particular story that I want to write. And I do have stories that I do write. I haven't always shared them all. I'm in the middle of sharing one on TikTok, although I haven't uploaded a story recently, a part of the story recently, but I got to get back to that. I've been focusing on the business. Um, so I guess I was telling you about my education, communication technology. That was my bachelor's degree. And then I went to law school. And the idea was that I was going to somehow pivot into, I believe, copyright or things that have to do with literature and law, things like that. That did not happen. I finished law school, but I am not an licensed attorney. I'm more creative than I am analytical, although law school will make you a lot more analytical. Um, and so, although I do have the ability, it is not the thing that I am doing. I worked for the government for about 13 years, and then I said no more to that. That I wanted to do something different with my life and with my time, that I really wanted to create a space of having life and work balance. And a lot of people say work-life balance, but they put work before the life. I flip it. I flip it and say life-work balance, and my life becomes before the work, so that I can enjoy the work. That's one thing. One thing I always want to do is enjoy the work that I'm doing. That doesn't mean that that happens 100% of the time, but at least I can fall back on the fact that I'm doing something that I actually like and enjoy, even in the hardest of times when it gets really gritty and grindy. And that's pretty much where I am right now. I'm in the grind part. I'm in the grind. Um, but the thing that keeps me motivated and inspired, and the thing that keeps me going, is the fact that I'm doing something that I actually enjoy, which is creating and having a space that others can also create in and show their work, which leads me to the different avenues that I'm utilizing. So writing, of course, is one of the main avenues. I freelance, but I also do creative writing. So that is one way that I am using my creativity. The second way is by this podcast, and I do interview a lot of different people. I've interviewed singers, musicians, DJs, actors, authors, and my own husband. I like having conversations with him because he and I think differently, and culturally we were raised in two diametrically opposing type of communities, and so it's interesting to have conversations with his particular perspective. So there's a podcast which allows me to state more of my opinion, a lot more of what I actually believe. And then there is the gallery, the art gallery, and the gift market, which focuses on promoting Black artists. And in a time when diversity is sometimes seen as an ugly word, we are really promoting it in the best way possible, particularly when it comes to celebrating what it means to be Black, what it means to be of African descent, what it means just to be American. The thing that I hate to see is divisiveness for the sake of divisiveness, where people use it as a way to oppress and diminish the work and the value that others have brought through history, that others have maintained no matter what has come their way. I think that's crazy. I think that's insane. And everyone should strive to uplift and bring the best parts of each other toward humanity so that we can all live the best lives. There's a lot of crap going on. There's just a lot of bull, you know, going on in this world. Um, Genocides, multiple genocides. People like to pick and choose which genocides they bring up, but there are multiple happening at this present time. And where is the fight for all of them? Where is the humanity in taking lives of children? It is not okay. It is not okay. It is not okay to use religion as a crutch to kill. It is not okay to use one's personal beliefs to oppress another. It's just not okay. Okay. So we were talking about why entrepreneurship. So why entrepreneurship? I've always liked the idea of being an entrepreneur. Even from the time that I was little, I was going around making and selling friendship bracelets. I always wanted to do lemonade stands. I wanted to be out there selling whatever it was. But I just didn't have the opportunity to do it much. I was Girl Scout, but I didn't, other than Girl Scout cookies or fundraising for school events, I didn't have an opportunity to do that much. And so when I got older, I started writing fictional novels and then also self-publishing. I got into that space and had to promote my books. And you think it's hard writing the book, that's just part of the story. The promoting part is a completely different animal. You have to actually actively go out there and create your own tour, basically, and go out and promote, or people do not know. This particularly if you're self-publishing, but even if you are under another person, even if someone has paid to have you write this book, you still have to go out there and promote it. Books don't get sold just by word alone. You have to go out there and push your books. Now some books don't get sold so based on word alone. But word of mouth is still one of the best ways to promote anything. I'm finding that is true no matter what business you're in. That word of mouth and references and people liking what you do and liking what you're about is still one of the best ways to promote your business. Even now in the space that I'm in, promoting others' art, promoting the crafts of others and myself, word of mouth is still the best thing. Having other people who champion you and champion what you do and really want to see you succeed is the probably top way. Now, here are the other ways that really burn my biscuits. Social media. Social media is like this animal that you cannot tame. But you can, as long as you know what to feed it. You have to feed it the right thing. And that is something that I am constantly working on. How to feed the animal the thing that it needs in order to thrive, in order to push my stuff to the furthest of the hemispheres. It is something that I am actively working on constantly. It's almost infuriating. But what is helpful is when people like you who are watching, like, share, subscribe, like, share, subscribe, and let people know, like, hey, go listen to her, support her. She's, give her feedback, comment, all those little things that feed into the algorithm that says, hey, um, they are paying attention to what she is doing. She has this many followers. She has this many people who actively see it. She has this many people who actively listen. That all helps. It helps feed beast, so that maybe it will be tamed to my advantage. Um, so why else entrepreneurship? Why entrepreneurship? Independence. I have this, I was talking about work life balance, life work balance earlier. I have a strong aversion to having to ask permission to do things that are um, normally things that one would not need permission to do because you're an adult. Things like, I don't know, using the bathroom, going on vacation, going home when you're sick or when you're not feeling well. Um, I have a strong aversion to that. I think that the culture in society right now is actually not conducive to how society is progressing. I think it's one of the, like, if I had to write a thesis about some of the things that are hindering society from becoming more improved within the United States, part of that would be that we're in an antiquated work culture that does not match how the society is actually progressing as a norm when it comes to how work can be achieved. And in addition to that, the technological part of that, the technological aspect of that, once you bring that in, it's not conducive to how antiquated actual work culture is. It particularly for the next generation coming up, the it's a lot more freeform. People have the ability to get work done in shorter amount of time, and this has actually been studied. This is not something that is just coming out of my head, out of anywhere. These are things that have been studied in in educational sectors where they have actually done the work to see and show that in 8 hours out of most days, people are not even working 8 hours. There's a good 3 hours that are being wasted in every single workday by most people. People peak at around 4 to 5 hours every day for optimum. Optimal is the word work, which means that their best work is done in 5 hours. So why are we there for 8 in a typical workday? Because the best work is done in 5 hours. There's even a measure, you can look it up. There are measures as to how long your brain can even be active within an hour and focus, actually focus on a task within an hour. And then it peaks and then it lulls and then you have to have a break in order to reboot, and then it goes up again. You get more energy, you can do more work. But it's not 8 hours. It's not 8 hours. So, work days, the traditional workday, the 8 hour workday is antiquated. It doesn't even really exist. Your boss isn't working either. Nobody is working in that office for 8 straight hours. There's a lot of things going on, like you're shuffling a lot of papers and paper clips. Okay, you're on a phone circling, you're in circles on that telephone, but you're not actually doing any work. You got 5 hours that you're actually optimal in work. And it's sporadic. I'm not saying it's like 5 hours in a row. It's 5 hours optimal within an 8 hour workday. So part of the suggestions that have come from the work experts is that you shorten the workday. You just shorten the workday. There's no reason to be there 8 hours. The other suggestion is that you have a lot more breaks, a lot more frequent breaks, or that your work days are staggered, meaning you're really only there for 3 days out of a 5 day week anyway. Or there's 7 days in a week, two of them are weekends anyway. You really only need a good 3 days worth of work. Because there's some people who can work and focus on something for 12 hours straight and never stop, but then they crash, right? And you're not going to see them again for another 2 days at their optimal. But they can still get 40 hours in by the end of the week. Like you can still manage to get 40. And then there are people who work their best early in the morning, like 6 a.m. They are at their best at 6 a.m. and that is their best time. But they can't get to work until like they literally, their work hours are 9 to 5, but their optimal hours are 6 to 9. Well, why can't, if they worked from home, or they are able to go to work earlier, they could get that work done and should be able to leave. Should be able to leave without a question once their work is done. I just think that it's just not optimal. It's just not optimal for how people are, particularly with the kids that being online and using the internet and AI and all these different things. They get their work done at 10 o'clock at night. Some people are nocturnal. They're just nocturnal. Not all kids. I'm just saying, different people are optimal at different times, and traditional work weeks are not designed for those types of workers. They're not designed for the ADHDers. They're not designed for the people who have peak moments of genius and have a lot of time where they need to have lulls in order to create. They're just not designed for that. Traditional work is not designed for that. And there should be like a really large conversation as to why people are holding on to that traditional work week so much. I also think that there has to be standard practice in every company where you just go on vacation. Everything shuts down and everybody leaves. Like, why are we here in the winter? It is cold outside and you're making people trek through the blizzards to get to an office when they could do it from home, or everybody could just go on vacation and not do it at all. That's what I'm talking about. Spend more time with your families. So that right there, the whole traditional work week to me was antiquated. It was just antiquated. I don't, I just, and I, it was just antiquated. Um, and then COVID happened, and every excuse as to why people couldn't do the traditional work week, do something other than the traditional work week, went out the window when COVID hit, and everybody had to work from home. And it was seen that work could be done from home. Some companies never went back into an office after that. They were like, wait a minute, we are so much more efficient this way. But then there are those who their whole system was based on being in an office space that they could not adjust as easily as everybody else. And so it required them to come back into offices, only to have those same spaces pared down and decreased later on because of cost. When employees, workers, see the whole, they see how something is not working, and they give suggestions and they say, hey, look, this would probably be better, and there's a consensus amongst all of us that this would be better if we do it this way. And it's so hard to get that thing moved. It only moves when it comes top down, when it makes sense to people who have the ultimate power, managers, owners, and so on. That is when the stuff actually shifts. And what I've seen though is that it's usually always based in something that an employee said somewhere. They were given that information, but it took them 10 years to get to it because it's slow. It's so slow to move. Slow to move progressively, and could have moved progressively if they had just listened to the employees to begin with, or even their customers. Sometimes the customers are saying what it is that needs to be done, and they're still slow to move. And you would think that they would listen to customers, right? But what tends to happen is that they are listening to the dollars over the voices. So as long as a customer still buys something or is still buying in, whether it's a paid service or not, to how somebody is traditionally doing something because they don't want to miss out on it, there's no reason for them to change it. There's just no reason for them to change it. The system works. They're still getting what they want. They're either getting your dollars, your time, the FaceTime. You're still, and so businesses, corporations, governments, it's all about actions. You could say whatever you want, but if your actions actually say, hey, look, we are no longer going to purchase stuff from your store until you make a change, or we are no longer going to use this service until you make a change, or we are no longer going to vote for you until you make a change. Those are the things that make change, because your actions are now matching your words. Lip service means nothing if your actions don't match your words. What do they say? Faith without works is dead. Protesting without works is dead. Writing petitions without work is dead. You know what I mean? Like asking for forgiveness without actual repentance and work is dead. Like people go by your actions. What are your actions saying? So what does that have to do with entrepreneurship? I keep digressing. Ultimately, I was over the process. I was just over the process of the 9 to 5. And life-work balance. It just wasn't hidden for me. And I knew that there had to be a better way. One, that I can strive for my particular dreams and goals, but 2, help others at the same time so that we are lifted up together. Rising tide lifts all boats. Reaching out together, but also to be an example for my son that you should take risk. I could fail. I could, right? Because not every risk is successful. And I have done things that I have failed at. But do you stop trying just because you fail? No. It's as simple as that. So I keep trying, I keep going, I keep coming up with new things, podcasts, books, art gallery. And I'm going to keep pressing forward. And I hope that you will stay on this journey with me as I do. So that is the why. Why entrepreneurship? Why now? Because I'm not getting any younger. I'm only getting older. So I might as well get it done while I can. Take from that what you will. I'm Kina B. And this is Say Anything. And I hope to see you on the next podcast.